Howdy, and welcome to another episode of Untold Tales from This Side of Nowhere. I'm your host, Connor Jones, and this is that one podcast about that tiny town as close as you can get to the middle of nowhere. That is Poverty Flats, Wyoming. And today I'm joined by a special guest. Before I introduce her, here's a message from our sponsors. This week's episode is sponsored by Basins Market, located in Basin, Wyoming. Basins Market is your destination for groceries, fresh produce, and the best meat department in the Bighorn Basin. Come on in and sample their wide selection of products Monday through Saturday from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sundays from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Out here in Poverty Flats, if your machine breaks down halfway to nowhere, you're in for a long walk home. That's why I've been using Lookover Power Sports, a handy little app that helps you track maintenance and set reminders, even with a photo right from the trail. It works for dirt bikes, side-by-sides, snowmobiles, and just about anything with a motor. You can try it free for a month, and it's 50% off until Labor Day. Start by visiting lookover.app, because breakdowns make bad stories, unless they're someone else's. We are also sponsored by the Wyoming Welcome Program. The Wyoming Welcome Program offers two services to local businesses: Table Talk and the Wyoming Welcome Baskets. Wyoming Welcome Baskets are filled with promotional items for local businesses and distributed to new move-ins to the Bighorn Basin. Table Talk brochures include jokes, facts about the state of Wyoming, the month's holidays, and advertisements from our local businesses. These brochures are placed on restaurant tables in Cody and Powell for diners to peruse. So if you'd like to get your business name out there, please contact the folks at the Wyoming Welcome Program by shooting an email to Haley J, that's HALEYJ, at wyomingwelcome.com. And now, the podcast. Well, like I said, I have a special guest on the show this week. I'd like to introduce everyone to my sister, Brinna. Hey, Brinna, how's it going?
Howdy, it's going good.
Yeah, thanks for being on the show this week. I told Brinna, I think back when I did the episode about Wyoming wind, which she suggested I do, as a side note, um, I told her, man, you need to come be on the show. So she agreed to come, and I think the topic is pretty fitting for Brinna. She's kind of an expert on at least one of the teams that I'm going to talk about. Um, but yeah, uh, why don't you introduce yourself a little bit, Brinna, for all of the folks out there in podcast land?
Yeah, so I am his favorite older sister, right? Um,
Yes.
yes, I'm the second oldest of the Jones clan, and I am currently living in Aurora, Colorado, just outside Denver, with my husband and our foster daughter.
Yeah. And their foster daughter she's awesome. I don't know about her, but my boys were really hard to put to bed tonight. I don't know if it's because they know Halloween's coming up, but was she a handful tonight?
Um, she's good about staying in bed, but I think she's still awake, even though she's supposed to be asleep.
Oh, yeah, that
So,
sounds familiar.
yep.
Well, it sounded like our boys did really well for Grandma. Haley and I, my wife and I, just got back from a trip, and Grandma stayed with the boys. Shout out to Grandma Jones. She's a superhero. And she said they did really well, so I don't know where those boys went, but when when I'm in charge, it's not always that way. So, but yeah. Well, today we're actually going to be talking about a topic that is near and dear. to both Brinna and my heart, and that topic is actually sports and Wyoming. And when we say sports, we mean professional sports. So it's kind of interesting because when you think of professional sports in Wyoming, there's not actually a lot. Is it choppy now or is it doing okay?
It's doing okay.
Okay, sweet. So, yeah, in Wyoming, well, Wyoming is on a list of probably 4 states in the United States that does not actually have a college sports team or a professional sports team in one of the big four, and that's basketball, baseball, football, and soccer. So it's there are a number of factors that play into this, and part of it's probably Wyoming's population.
It's a population and probably weather where we have winter and construction season,
Yeah,
feels like.
that's pretty much all there is in Wyoming. Other states like California, Texas, they have the advantage of being able to play a sport outside all year long. Um, and I guess some of the Northeast states and that get really cold during the winter, but they also just have a big enough population. They have indoor stadiums and that kind of thing. So
Hmm.
I was doing some research, and there are only, let's see how many. There are only 4 states that don't have a pro sports team. So there's Alaska, Hawaii, Vermont, and Wyoming. Now, if you're a hockey fan, then yes, there are minor league hockey teams in Alaska. And did you know there's a minor league hockey team in Wyoming?
Yeah, the one in Cody.
Yes. So the Yellowstone Quakes are a team in Cody, but I was looking, and the Quakes are terrible. They didn't win a single game last season, and I think they had a 7-game shutout streak where they got shut out 7 games in a row.
Ooh,
So
yeah,
yeah, I
that's rough.
use I use the term playing hockey loosely with the Quakes. I even think I've been
Yeah,
to a
when
Quakes game.
you have or have not.
I have. Yeah, I went to one once. Have you been to one?
I haven't, and honestly, I didn't know they existed. I don't know what year they started, but I didn't know they existed until I was in college.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so
Yeah, they're that
hockey
good.
clearly was a valuable sport in our household.
Yeah. Well, and that's also true. We're definitely not hockey fans, which is interesting because Dad did serve his mission in Canada, and hockey
Hmm.
was huge there. But yeah, I think I had heard of the Stanley Cup growing up, but I did not watch any hockey.
Yeah, that makes me think of uh, the Avalanche here in Colorado back when the Stanley mugs, the popular cups were being popular.
Oh yeah.
Taylor's cousin came over from Utah and she went into like Dick's Sporting Goods here, and the Avalanche were in the playoffs for the Stanley Cup. And she asked if they had any Stanley Cups at Dick's Sporting Goods because they were all sold out in Utah. And he's like, the Avalanche haven't won it yet.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Different Stanley Cup, buddy.
Yep, yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember Dad watching most every other sport except hockey.
Yeah. Pretty
I know
much.
at one point he liked like the Pittsburgh Penguins because there was a guy from Nova Scotia on the team, but I don't really remember him watching it.
Yeah. If I had to choose a hockey team, I would probably root for the Penguins. I have my
Hmm.
friend Morgan from Pennsylvania. Do you remember her at all?
Oh, yep, from FCCLA.
Yeah, she's a huge Penguins fan. So, yeah, I root for the Penguins. I don't really follow them, but I'll cheer for them. So,
Yeah.
yeah. And, you know, outside of that one minor league hockey team, Wyoming doesn't have pro sports. Now, it's true we do have rodeos. The Cody
Hmm.
Night Rodeo in Cody is probably one of the most attended rodeos in the world. And we have Cheyenne Frontier Days, the daddy of them all.
Yep.
But outside of professional rodeo, there are no pro sports in Wyoming.
Yep.
Yeah,
R.I.P. the Casper Ghosts.
true. At one point, there was a minor league baseball team in Casper called the Casper Ghosts. And did you come to that one camp they put on? Were you there for that one?
Yes, I did go to that baseball camp and it was amazing. I loved it. Yeah. I think
Yeah,
I
we
still have
went.
my baseball signed by all the Casper Ghost players that were there.
Yeah, yeah, that was down in Casper. We went down with our some members of our Babe Ruth team, and Aunt Jana Lee took us, and I want to say it was a 2-day camp because we spent the night.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it was really good, but it must not have been too much longer after that. The Casper Ghosts disbanded, and so Wyoming doesn't even have a minor league baseball team. So
And I think it's fitting to point out that the camp was inside an indoor rodeo arena, not
yeah,
any indoor baseball facility.
true. I don't think there's an indoor baseball facility in the state. So
I would be very surprised if there was.
yeah, and I'm trying to think. Obviously, there are plenty of indoor basketball courts for high school, and down in Laramie, they have a pretty nice basketball facility at the one university in Wyoming. But football and baseball, when they do get played, yeah, it's all outside in the Cowboy State.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah, and you might be wondering if you're not from Wyoming, what do people in Wyoming do when they don't have any professional sports? It's not like no one in Wyoming cheers for pro sports teams. When they do dress up days for homecoming at my school and they do a sports jersey day, there are plenty of pro sports teams represented, but none of them are from Wyoming. So what do you do if you want to root for a pro sports team and you're from Wyoming?
I would say you're either a bandwagon fan and you're cheering for whoever who's doing well in whichever sport, or you default and choose a team from the states closest to you that have teams.
Yes. And yeah, I think the bandwagon effect is probably the number one. I see plenty of Kansas City Chiefs fans and LA Dodgers jerseys around schools. The Yankees also get
Hmm.
some love in the Cowboy State, especially since they have a strong national appeal and a long history of success. But the second factor that really influences who you cheer for if you're from Wyoming is what I call the proximity factor. You know, the because around
Yep.
us there are some pro sports teams. So we've got,
Yes. Or another thing would be rooting for people who have ties to Wyoming, teams with people
yes.
that have ties. Like the Steelers had the Kiesel boys in Grable.
Yep, Brett Kiesel played on the
So I
Steelers.
know there's a lot of Steelers fans in the basin.
Hmm. And probably more recently, there are a lot of Bills fans in Wyoming because Josh Allen, the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, was a University of Wyoming quarterback. He played in the brown and gold for the Cowboys back in like 2016. And now that he's gone pro, there are lots of Bills fans. In fact, um, did you know that the Eagle, the classic rock station here out of Cody, actually broadcasts the Bills games?
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's the only
That's cool.
yeah, the only NFL team that gets broadcasted in the basin. So,
That's funny. And I know UW is retiring his number this year in November, I believe.
oh, I didn't know
So there's a
that.
lot of, yep, there's a lot of excitement about that.
Yeah, they should. He was a fantastic quarterback, and he might be the most successful NFL player to come out of the Cowboys football program. So,
Yeah.
that's one other nice thing in Wyoming is we only have one university. So, you don't have, state cheering against the University of fans. I know in Montana, Montana State and Montana State University are always butting heads, but we don't have that issue in the Cowboys state.
Nope. Nope. It's always everybody's like a Cowboys fan by default.
Yes. Yeah. And that brings us to kind of, well, this figures into the proximity factor, but I feel like by default, when it comes to the MLB, most people in Wyoming are Colorado Rockies fans. I've definitely met way more Rockies fans than any other single team. So I would almost say
Yeah.
if you're from Wyoming, the Rockies are going to be your default MLB baseball team.
Yep.
And we'll probably get maybe we'll get some negative feedback for saying that, but that I'm going to go out on a limb and say the Rockies are going to be Wyoming's baseball team. Because who else is closer?
Yep.
Salt Lake doesn't have a team yet.
Mm-hmm. The Royals,
Yeah, Kansas City.
maybe.
The Twins, kind of up there in Minnesota,
Mm-hmm.
and the Mariners might be geographically closer. So,
Yeah.
but the Rockies are the only team that you could drive. Well, if you live in Laramie or Cheyenne, you can literally drive a couple hours to go see the Rockies
Mm-hmm.
play. And even up here
Yep.
in the northwest part of the state, it's about a 7, 8 hour drive down to Denver. So you really can't go see anyone else on a weekend like you could the Rockies.
Yeah.
And the Jones family's history with the Rockies goes way back.
Yep.
You probably remember cheering for the Rockies even before I did.
Yeah, I started cheering for him when I was in eighth grade, which, happened to be the year that they went to well, yeah, eighth grade, 2007, the year they went to the World Series, which I
Oh,
started watching them because Dad was watching them all the time. And at that point, I was obsessed with baseball and I didn't have a team yet, and they were always on, so I just became obsessed with them.
yes. Well, and as far as baseball franchises go, the Rockies is a pretty young franchise. Um,
Hmm.
what was their inaugural season? 97? Let me check.
I believe so.
Let's see, inaugural season. So the Rockies started in 93, but
93. Okay.
they are one of two expansion teams that started in 1993. What was the other one? Let's see. Gotta do a quick internet search here. 1993 new baseball teams. Okay. The Marlins. They
Okay, I
were
was gonna say I feel like it was Florida.
yeah. Okay, so yep, the Rockies and the Marlins started the same year. And let's see. You were born in 92?
Wow, way to age me. No, 94.
Okay. Okay. So the Rockies are just barely older than Brinna.
Yes.
And Dad has been a Rockies fan from the start, I'm pretty sure.
Hmm.
But you're right. 2007 was a great year for the Rockies. They had Todd Helton, Matt Holliday, Tulowitzki, and like you said, they made it to the World Series. It was probably the first time that Wyoming had kind of a home team that
Hmm.
had made it all the way to the World Series.
Yes, a very heartbreaking end to that, but hey, they made it.
Yeah. Well, and you might just argue that the Rockies curse began in 2007 when they got swept by the Red Sox in that series.
Yeah. Well, I personally have always been convinced. I can't remember who they played before they played the Red Sox, but they swept that team.
They did.
And then they had like, I want to say like a week off with no games because the Red Sox were still playing. And the Red Sox and then the Rockies played each other, and the Red Sox were hot off their win against whoever they were playing, and the Rockies had been like dormant, kind of.
Oh,
And so I think they just like lost momentum. And then
yeah,
the Red Sox were still high on momentum.
that would do it. It would take the wind out of my sails to have to wait for a week to play in the World Series.
Hmm.
And you have plenty of time to psych yourselves out and no.
Yep.
But since 2007, the Rockies have not made it back to another series, and I don't even think that they've won a pennant since then. But that doesn't mean the Jones family never made the trek down to go see them.
Yes, we still support them.
Now, when I was a kid, I think one of the highlights of growing up was that trip we all took down to Denver, and we stayed in a big hotel and watched. We watched a couple games, didn't we?
Yep, we went to two games. That was actually for my high school graduation trip that we did as a family. Uh, so it was the summer after I graduated high school.
That's awesome. I did not remember it was for your graduation, but it makes sense because Brinna was is such a big Colorado Rockies fan. So
Yep.
yeah, it was great. All nine of us went to the ball field. We should have worn matching shirts because I'm sure we would have got some attention on the jumbotron. But yeah, there's nothing more American than watching a baseball game and eating a hot dog. And I'll tell you, I'm not sure how much Dad spent on that experience for our enormous family, but I'll never forget it.
Yeah, me neither. And I mean, we didn't go tons of places going growing up, but when we went somewhere, we went all out. Like,
Yeah.
we got the concessions, we got the souvenirs, we got the two baseball games with fantastic seats. Like, when Dad does something, he doesn't do it halfway. We go all out.
Oh yeah. And if we were Rockies fans before going to Denver, we were Rockies fanatics after we went.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember just how big everything was. Going from the town of Poverty Flats with less than 50 people to Denver, it was just so big. And then we got into Coors Field, and I don't think on TV you get a real appreciation for just how big the stadium is, but
Mm-hmm.
they're throwing baseballs over 100 yards with incredible accuracy. They're hitting them over 100 yards, and the exit velocity is over 120 miles an hour. And yeah, it's just awesome being in a ballpark watching professional baseball.
Yep. And then just like when you can feel everyone around you screaming and cheering and yeah. Like I love watching baseball on TV, but nothing beats a trip to the ballpark.
It's so true. And Brinna, you've definitely been to more games than any of us. And actually, well, I can definitely say that your life was changed forever at a Rockies baseball game. Man, it's been 10 years ago, 11 years.
Uh, it'll be 10 years in April,
Okay.
which growing up, my dream, like if you ask my girlfriends from middle school after falling in love with the Rockies, my dream had been like, I would love to be proposed to at Coors Field. And lo and behold, had a roommate in college from the Denver area who introduced me to her cousin, also from the Denver area. And uh, we started dating, and he proposed to me at Coors Field. And for those of you that don't know, there is a row of purple seats in the stadium, and that purple seat row marks the mile high line for sea level. So he took me up there before a game and to show me the mile high line, and he proposed to me there. And we'll have been married 10 years next July.
Definitely one of the coolest proposals ever.
Yep,
He
I
didn't,
think so.
yeah, he didn't get you on the Jumbotron, but it's okay. It
Yeah,
was still pretty cool.
it was still awesome,
Yeah. And she,
especially considering he was not a baseball fan. Like, he grew up going to Rockies games, but he didn't know anything about baseball.
yeah. He was from Denver, so it was really easy to go. So,
Yep.
but even if people are not Rockies fans, I'm sure this year for sure they know about the Rockies because unfortunately for us and Rockies fans everywhere, the Rockies are the worst team in baseball this year.
Yes. And
And
almost the worst team in modern baseball history.
pretty close.
They lost out on that title by one win.
Yes. So the White Sox last season only won 41 of 165 games. And the Rockies, they have won 43. They have what, 4 games left in the season? Something like that. But they did not out White Sox the White Sox. So
Yep.
I was doing some research. They almost broke the record for the fastest team to reach 50 losses at the start of the season. The only other teams, there have been 2 teams in history that lost more games in the first 100 games, and that's the Cincinnati Red Stockings in 1876 and the Kansas City Unions in 1884.
Oh boy.
Um, so you might wonder why we continue to cheer for the Rockies, but we're no fair weather Rockies fans. The Jones family's been Rockies fans for a long time, and for us, I think it's probably about more than just the baseball.
Yep.
Uh,
It's something that, has brought our family together and yeah, gives us something that we did together as a family, a team we all cheered together for.
and we still go to games. We
Yep.
came down a couple summers ago and went and saw a game with you guys, and we plan on doing it again soon.
Good. We love having folks down and taking them to baseball games. We're figuring out all the little freebies and fun side things you can do at games. And we love teaching and sharing and we got to take our foster daughter to her first games this summer and doing all the fun things like meeting Dinger, getting a certificate for her first game. Just it's fun to share my love and passion with my nieces and nephews and foster kids and anyone that will tolerate their losing and just have a good time with me.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you guys are so good about hosting us when we come down, and Denver's not too far away. We'll continue driving down there, and even if the Rockies keep on losing, I'm sure
Yep,
we'll still be Rockies fans.
yep. A bonus is, your team's not doing very well, you can get tickets for pretty cheap.
Yes, that is true. I heard from someone so I was on a flight recently and I sat by someone on the way into Denver, and they're from LA, living in Denver, and they're not Rockies fans. They're LA fans. They love the Dodgers, but they can get really cheap tickets to watch the Dodgers play at Coors Field.
Yeah, we've sat next to some people who it's cheaper for them to fly to Denver, get a hotel room, and get tickets to watch the Dodgers in Denver than to just buy a ticket and watch it in LA.
Man. Well, if that's the case, then I'm okay if the Rockies are not fantastic anytime soon.
Yeah.
No. Well, whoever you cheer for in Wyoming, uh even though we have no pro sports teams, that doesn't mean that we're not sports fans, and for our family, baseball and the Colorado Rockies they'll always be the team. So,
Yep.
but yeah, if you are a Rockies fan, we want to hear from you. And by all means, if you're not a Rockies fan, you can comment on this episode when it drops on Facebook and tell us who you cheer for, as long as it's not the Dodgers.
Yes.
So, but
Or the
it's
Cubs.
or
Cubs
the
fans are
Cubs.
obnoxious.
Oh yes, yeah. But yeah, thank you for coming on the episode for this one, Brinna. I thought this would be a
Yeah.
good one to get you on, and
Yeah,
uh,
thank you.
yeah, it's been fun talking about baseball, and we'll be seeing you soon here in a few weeks. So
Yeah, looking forward to it.
okay. Well, if you want to get a hold of me, like I said, you can comment on this episode when it drops on Facebook. You can also shoot me an email at untoldtalesthepodcast@gmail.com. Special thanks to Brinna for coming out tonight. And as always, this has been another episode of Untold Tales from This Side of Nowhere, where we work twice as hard for half as much and still find time for the important things like fishing
Like fishing and baseball.
and baseball. See you next time, folks.